Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And the British are coming, the British are coming, the British are coming, boys and girls. But not for Americans, not for the United States, although they'd love to try. No, they are coming for their own citizens, boys and girls. Yes, free speech as we know it in the United Kingdom has been made illegal, boys and girls. And if you speak out against any one of the many protected organizations out there, that you will end up initially getting, arrested, boys and girls. And that is exactly what has happened today. Well, although I think it technically happened yesterday at the time of this recording, and who knows when it actually happened by the time you actually watch this video. But at the end of the day, boys and girls, this is absolutely insanity out there. And just one more reason I'm very glad I'm American. And we decided not to listen to a monarchy over there in the United Kingdom, well, at England at the time, boys and girls, for a very long time, because that is absolute insanity. And it just makes me wonder, at what point will the United Kingdom citizens actually meet their breaking point, stand up and actually make a difference and change the way their government operates and the way it treats its people? I don't know, boys and girls, but this is absolutely insane, and a whole bunch of people are out there commenting, including Harry Potter creator and author J.K. Rowling, a British citizen herself, boys and girls, plus a whole bunch of others, including Ricky Gervais and a whole lot of other folks, because boys and girls, this is absolutely insanity, because as you can see over here from the headline of thatpartplace.com, J.K. Rowling slams censor culture and authoritarian rule in the United Kingdom after comedian thrown behind bars. Now, given, boys and girls, it's one of them situations where we all know that J.K. Rowling is not somebody who would be considered exactly on our side in any way, shape, or form, because it's one of them things where we know she agrees with the spirit of the age for 99% of their talking points out there. But once again, as we've talked about a million times before, you step one single toe out of line, whether you're Snoop Dogg or the Harry Potter author, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you will get canceled. They will do their best to come after you. And considering J.K. Rowling is absolutely speaking out against the spirit of the age, it would not surprise her whatsoever that she's out there trying to defend this and talk about this, because it's only a matter of time before they come after her as well. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details. But of course, they're not the only ones that covered this. The Hollywood Reporter is also covering this as well in the most sanitized way they possibly can, because I mean, it's literally like just a couple of paragraphs, and it's nothing more than covering exactly what some other reports had said as to who was arrested and the British government's police force's official statement. Father Ted co-creator Graham Linehan arrested over trans X posts. Yes, boys and girls, that's all it took. Not any kind of actions, not actually going out there and doing anything. No, simply posting a few things out there on social media is enough to get you arrested in the United Kingdom. Boy, how's that working out for jolly old England? So we're going to get into all of the juicy details so that you know exactly what is going on. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. We're sailing our way towards 100,000. I think we're sitting at like 2,179, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about all of this, because seriously, this is absolutely insane, especially if you are a citizen living in the United Kingdom. Let us know what you think about this. Do you agree with this kind of stuff, that these kind of threats, this kind of speech needs to be taken down and people need to be arrested and jailed for this? Or do you have a little bit of common sense left in your brain and you agree this is absolute insanity and the government over there has gone completely and totally out of control and off the rails? Or are you somewhere in the middle of this kind of situation? And let us know what you think either way about all of this in the comment section down below, because as always, all opinions are welcome. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, boys and girls, let's go ahead and jump right into this from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet WDW Pro. Don't get articles from him very often, and it's always very insightful information. The guy actually kind of reminds me of my grandfather with all the wisdom he's got sometimes. J.K. Rowling slams censor culture and authoritarian rule in the United Kingdom after comedian thrown behind bars. On September 1st, 2025, at Heathrow Airport, comedian and sitcom creator Graham Linehan, known for Father Ted and the IT Crowd, was taken into custody by 5 armed police officers following his arrival from Arizona. Could be the It Crowd too, but IT, considering they capitalized it, makes a lot more sense. Let me know if you've seen any of his shows down below and if you love them. and if they're worth me watching. Let me know if I should check them out. The arrests stem from 3 posts on X that authorities allege involved incitement of violence against individuals identifying as trans, i.e. they're confused, want to put on dresses and pretend to be people they're not. Yeah, that kind of thing. And not in the fun cosplay way. Although cosplay would be, maybe that's what we should call them, like strange and weird cosplayers. I don't know. As part of his bail, he's been banned, that's right, from posting on X. Linehan was detained, questioned, and afterward hospitalized due to high blood pressure. He even said in his own statement out there on his Substack that like he was just stressed out in the questioning and the absolute insanity of getting questioned over jokes and statements on social media. The fact that he was arrested and interrogated, like just absolutely just drove his blood pressure to the rest. And honestly, obviously the guy could take a little, look, common nerd just started hitting the gym. Been trying to work on it a little bit myself. We could all be a little healthier. He could be too. I'll just leave it at that, boys and girls. Linehan may have posted the commentary in the United States, indicating that the United Kingdom is willing to arrest individuals for online discourse once they arrive upon British territory. Yes, boys and girls, even though he was in the United States when he posted these things on social media, it doesn't matter. If you're a British citizen, guess what, boys and girls? They're going to arrest you. And we've heard comments from other UK officials about how they'd love to go after United States citizens if they could. Well, maybe some people shouldn't visit jolly old England anytime soon. The police apprehended Linehan on suspicious of public order offense tied to these posts. A public order offense. Yeah. Oh, show me on the doll where his mean tweets affected your public order. Reports indicate one post suggested confronting biological males in women-only spaces, allegedly crossing into dangerous territory. Now, I don't know about you, boys and girls, but I'm the father to 6 children. 4 of them are girls. So I don't care how pretty some man feels. If you try to walk into a bathroom behind my daughter, yes, I will confront you as well. And if I have to, I will physically stop you from following my daughter into the bathroom. Fortunately enough, I live in the great state of Texas and in the United States of America. And guess what? They don't play in my town. Can anybody else relate to that? The question of whether or not these posts were comedic in nature does not appear to have been taken into consideration, even if one considers a government a great arbitrator of humor, which I don't think any of us do. Of course, lots of people had to make their opinions known about this. The Harry Potter author, J.K. Rowling herself. What the F has the UK become? And, not to throw too much shade as a guy who lives in a glass house, not to throw too many stones, but J.K. Rowling, the party you've advocated, the side you've advocated for most of your adult life is exactly what led to the UK becoming this. But as I've said many times before, I don't care if I disagree with you on absolutely everything else. If there is a fight to be had, if there is a push to be had, if there is a change to be made, and you agree with me on this one topic, I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you and fight until my last breath next to you defending that ideology, and especially when it comes to protecting kids and women in private spaces. I will gladly stand shoulder to shoulder to J.K. Rowling, because you know what? There are bigger demons, there are bigger dragons, there are bigger evils to defeat in this world than how the rich get taxed. So once all of the rest of these demons are taken care of, once all of the rest of the exorcisms of these evils from our culture have taken place, then I will gladly go back to calling J.K. Rowling a moron for her opinions on the rest of those kind of things out there. But until that day comes, I stand with J.K. Rowling and anyone else out there that has a little bit of common sense left in their brain, that understands not only what is happening to women out there in the world, but also is clearly happening to free speech globally and especially in the United Kingdom, boys and girls. Her words captured the frustration and alarm among many who saw Linehan's arrest as a worrying symbol of authoritarian overreach. Famous cartoonist and satire artist Scott Adams suggests it is now too risky to travel to the United Kingdom. Shout out to Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, one of the most on the point and on the nose funny comic strips out there, and shout out to the 90s series as well. Also excellent. Scott Adams flat out says, I could not take the risk of traveling to the UK because once again, this is the problem. The UK is trying to punish someone for actions that happen in another country. Another country. That's like, let's just use an extreme example. That's like me going down to, I don't know, Brazil and taking out one of their citizens, and I don't mean on a date. Well, that would be like me escaping Brazil, coming back to the United States of America, and the United States of America deciding to charge me for that crime, right? Because they have no jurisdiction. I committed that crime in Brazil under Brazilian law. Brazil. Now, if America wants to extradite me to Brazil for that, fine, whatever, right? But the United Kingdom knows they couldn't do that. America is not going to extradite somebody to the United Kingdom, even if they're one of their citizens, for punishment for a violation of free speech. Why? Because that's not against our laws. Also, because it's stupid and against God's laws. On top of everything, because God gave you free will. That free will is the ability to open up your mouth and say whatever you want, whether it be stupid or wise. Either one of those. God gave you that ability. And I, for one, as a guy who was raised on the idea by my grandfather that it's better to keep your mouth shut and let everybody think you're an idiot than open it and erase all doubt, I would much rather the idiots open their mouth. You know why? Because I can avoid those idiots. I cannot interact with those idiots. And when those idiots find out that nobody wants to put up with them because all the stupid stuff that they say, well, maybe they'll change their ways. And if they don't, guess what? Nobody will have to interact or deal with them anymore. But oh, no, that's not the way it is in the United Kingdom. Because they don't trust the culture. They don't trust their own citizens to work it out. No. Mommy, daddy, government has to come in and make sure you don't say nasty words on social media, because that would be bad. Because it turns out sticks and stones aren't the only things that are going to break your bones. According to the United Kingdom's own government, words will do that as well. And of course, Robbie Starbuck, a well-known American political commentator, also a guy that was also got arrested for a bunch of political nonsense. The UK has arrested a comedian now for X posts that the British government found to be criminally offensive to transgenders. Here is Grant Lenman on his arrest. The UK has no free speech. The feelings of transgenders and migrants come before the rights of everyone else. Like the old saying goes, you really want to know who has power in a society? Look at who you can't criticize, boys and girls. Yeah, weird how that works. Oh, remind me how they just want to be tolerated and accepted as who they are. No, it's not just being tolerated. It's they want you to affirm their worldview. They want you to affirm their mass delusions. It's literally like, it's the same logic that would be for someone to tell you if you're dealing with a schizophrenic to affirm the voices in their head, to affirm the demonic influence inside of Ellen Page's head, to affirm the fact that it's okay for those voices to tell you to set fire to things. It's literally the exact same thing. These are the same demonic voices inside their heads that's telling them to harm themselves. It's the exact same thing. But the UK doesn't want to hear that. That might offend somebody's feelings. So instead, they'll arrest you. Elon Musk, too, voiced his anger, describing the UK as a police state. Pretty accurate. Amplifying concerns about shrinking spaces for dissent. Prominent figures across political and media spheres also joined in. Nigel Farage, speaking ahead of hearing before the U.S. House Judiciary Committee, argued that the arrest illustrates Britain transforming into an authoritarian censorship regime, and that innovators and free thinkers must be protected from such illiberal trends. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, via his spokesman, encouraged policing to focus on serious crimes rather than controversial social media posts, signaling government unease over law enforcement priorities. Oh, you mean the same government that allowed the passage of these laws that could be enforced like this? The same government doing nothing to protect United Kingdom citizens' free speech? That government? Thanks for your kind words. Thoughts and prayers, Prime Minister. Health Secretary Wes Streeting insisted the police should target streets, not tweets. Aren't you clever? I bet you that got you some headlines and some campaign donations, huh? Reinforcing calls for a reassessment of policing priorities and greater clarity in speech-related legislation. The incident rapidly becomes a focal point for debates over free speech, online regulation, and policing scope in a digital age. Critics contend that while hate speech laws are necessary, the arrest of a public figure over controversial social media content sets a concerning precedent. Oh, you mean almost like using the judicial system to go after your political opponents sets it on a very bad precedent? Yeah. Others believe that commentary made even by comedians, especially targeting a vulnerable group, remember those people you can't criticize, cross clear legal and ethical boundaries in the United Kingdom. The line between protected expression and prosecutable incitement remains hotly contested. Granlim's arrest has ignited passionate debate. For Rowling and allies, it's emblematic of a dangerous tilt toward authoritarianism and censorship. Totalitarianism isn't just a rhetoric, it underscores a profound fear that free speech is under siege. It is. To underscore just how severe this has become, the United Kingdom is actually considering banning speech the government disagrees with in restaurants. As you might have guessed, Hollywood is totally silent on this issue. In fact, Disney has sent all of their Marvel and Star Wars productions to England, removing all productions in Georgia so far as we can tell. Yeah, saying that you believe that life is life in Georgia is enough of an excuse for Disney to pack up and move all of their stuff to the United Kingdom, also those tax incentives, but arresting a comedian, a Hollywood guy, in the United Kingdom over some tweets. Nope. Warner Brothers is building massive facilities over there. Yay! Hollywood and Toto is at least calling things out. Celebrities have mostly stood by as woke bylaws and cancel culture scolds pummeled speech over the past decade. Why? It's partly due to fear. They also saw mostly conservatives being censored and didn't feel compelled to rally to their side. That's right. Because when they came for the labor union guys, when they came for the Jews, I said nothing. And when they came for me, there was no one left to say anything. Well, Hollywood, they've officially come for one of your own, the comedians. And speaking of comedians, Ricky Gervais, of course, had to throw his 2 cents in as well. If you don't believe in free speech for people who you disagree with, and even hate for what they stand for, then you don't believe in free speech. And Ricky's absolutely right. Everyone in here that's been quoted that spoke out against this is absolutely right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what J.K. Rowling says, what Ricky Gervais says, or what the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom says. It doesn't matter, because just like in Hollywood, just like at the box office, just like in entertainment and storytelling, the people decide. The fans decide. The nerds, the geeks, they decide. In the United States of America, this holds just as true. When the lockdowns were going on, they were lifted by our benevolent overlords. If you look at the cell phone data, those lockdowns were preceded by weeks of people ignoring them and going out and doing what they wanted and going back to living their normal lives. The government played catch up to what the people were already doing. At the end of the day, the people are who decide. The people decided that Fantastic Four was a flop. The people of the United Kingdom have clearly decided that they are willing to put up with a totalitarian government that is willing to arrest a comedian over social media posts, over simply speaking his mind and honestly speaking the point and the viewpoint and the opinion of millions of silent people out there, either too scared to say anything or too small to actually garner any major reach or any major scrutiny. Hi, we're one of those. And you can help with that by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already. But at the end of the day, this is going to take the United Kingdom's citizens standing up and saying no. It happened in the United States. We stood up and said no to the spirit of the age. What happened? The Walt Disney Company, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, name your other, Games Workshop. Wait, that's not an American company. Wizards of the Coast, right? Name any of the entire American video game industry, right? Any of these companies that have gone down this path, or your government that went completely and totally insane. At some point, the people have to decide no more. We're not going to put up with it, and we're going to take our country back. That has happened in the United States. That has happened in video gaming. That has happened to a certain degree in entertainment as well, because the customers and the audience have decided no. We will decide what succeeds and what fails. We will decide what direction our studios go. My only question at this point, and by God, how it hasn't happened yet, I don't know. But maybe it's just because the United Kingdom citizens have lived under the rule and the thumb of someone else for so very long, it's just ingrained in their very nature. I don't know. But I hope there is still some spark of rebellion left inside of you. I hope the Holy Spirit of God himself still moves within that country. And it has to, because God has always promised that there will be a remnant left. At what point, remnant of the United Kingdom, is it going to become too much for you? At what point are you going to finally put your foot down and say no more? At what point are you finally going to push back against the government that you elected? At what point are you going to stop this? Because if you don't, history teaches us exactly how this ends. First it's nudge, then it's shove, then it's shoot. Up against the wall, comrade. They've already started arresting people. How much longer before the rest comes afterwards? Will you have a breaking point? Will you stand up with yourself? Will you stand up for yourself and the rest of your fellow citizens? Or are you going to gladly walk into the camps? Because at the end of the day, it is your choice. The audience, the fans, the nerds, the geeks, and the people decide. You only put up with what you are willing to tolerate. How much more are you willing to tolerate? Citizens of the United Kingdom. The choice is up to you. The choice is yours. You just have to do something with it. So may God be with you, and may he give you the strength and the wisdom to overcome and push back against the evils and demonic forces that have taken control of your government. God save England. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.